Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Darcio Gondaga, CEO of Trio Media. Just real quick, my intro got stuck in the first video, but of course, I call it part two. It's so important. I'm not going to be long with you, but I have to share something that I talked to a lot of experts globally, and everything coming back when I asked them about podcasts, because podcasting is even as important or even more important than publishing a book right now when it comes to the space. And I've been, fortunate enough to be working with people producing podcasts since 2005. So I know a little bit about that aspect. So the challenge that most people have when I talk to them is not just to go global, but it's like, I cannot start a podcast, Darcy. I need to rent a studio podcast. I say, what? To rent a studio podcast? So you have no audience. You never done a podcast before. So you want to upfront money to rent a studio podcast? Are you serious? So that's number one. Number two, you want to get equipment to have a studio podcast. Like, so if you want to use a high resolution camera like the one I use now, it's at least $2,000. So you want about 3 camera angle is $6,000. We don't even talk about the mics. So you need to have, also like a mixer and all that. So, roughly you really want to have a nice, with a light and everything, a studio podcast, to have your own, you want to really do it the way that you see some top podcasters doing it, production wise, you need 7 to 8 G's. Just want to talk about like the equipment that you need to make sure that you have the right monitors, the light the way it's supposed to. But you don't really need that when you start a podcast. What you need to have your topic, and you need to be able to do interviews, sometimes. Like, if you have to start a podcast and you only rely on interview to each episode, you need to have enough juice, enough knowledge, enough expertise for you to be able to have the majority of your episode by yourself, and put the expectation that when you have guests is a bonus. But yourself should have enough information for you to build the audience. Because like somebody, that I really admire, his name is Bishop David Oyedepo. I never forgot that. I was translating for him in 2004 in College Park, Georgia. And he said that never build a ministry or audience with guest speaker. And that changed my life forever. So yes, you can have guest speaker to start, but you don't want the expectation that people always coming to listen to your podcast according to the guest that you have. You need to make sure that they're coming for the topic, that you have enough resource to bring, to them. And if you want to bring an expert, feel free to do it. But let me share with you a few things that you can do to monetize your podcast. The monetization of your podcast, I don't want you to think about entertainer. You're a business person. And I believe that today, especially in our black culture, you want to entertain and you want to teach. And sometimes you focus so much on entertaining, it dilutes the quality and the juice of your content. So there's nothing wrong to, you want to be entertaining, you want to be funny, you want to dance, you can do that, but make sure that your content is straight and you first of all educating your audience. So one of the ways that you can bring money is that first of all, of course, get some lights, get you a nice, webcam. I don't really want to advise people to start a podcast utilizing the webcam from their computer. That's not what I'm asking you, but I really want you to think about having at least an external webcam, and not any external webcam. I will recommend for you to utilize, the Logitech 4K Brio. And with a ring light, you should be straight, have some decent lighting, so people when they watch you, it's okay. Because with your technology in 2024 and beyond, you want the minimum of quality. You don't have to have like a movie kind of stuff, but enough where people can see you, they can hear you clearly, and you need the Logitech Brio 4K. It's very good. It's available everywhere on Amazon. Wherever you're watching me, you can order that. Then, let me just share with you a few things that you can do to make money with your podcast that people don't think about. Number one, you need a website to send people after your podcast. People cannot just watch your podcast, say, hey, listen to me on all the platform, and you just only rely on the views because you monetize the YouTube channel. That's not the best way to monetize your podcast when there's what we call podcast directories. There's so many out there, but you necessarily need to be on Apple. You need to be on Google Podcasts. It's going away now. It's YouTube Podcasts, okay? And every audio platform for podcast, okay? So you can also have a video show. You can repurpose your content to put it on all social media platforms, but you have to remember, first of all, podcast is audio, okay? And never neglect the power of audio, because audio can go so far away. People can listen to you while they work out, while they travel. They don't have to sit and look at their phone or watch you on a desktop or on their TV. Very important. So you want to diversify the place where people can catch a podcast. Very important. But also, after having a website, I want you to think about merch. You need to have some merch. If possible, it's not everybody is not able to have merch, but I want you to be able to give opportunity for people who are watching you to buy stuff that they might like and for you to get paid. So what we call affiliate marketing, okay? And also learn, the decent editing. So when I'm talking like that, I can bought a video and I can have, somebody and have a rate for people to advertise on my podcast. You can start it from the beginning. People think that you need to have 1 million downloads before you start monetizing for your podcast. You can monetize for your podcast the first month or two if you know what to do and how to position yourself. Okay? So don't think that, the only way for you to monetize your podcast, you need to have a big studio and have international guests. That you flying a guest and put them in a hotel, give them because and that's really the part I don't like. Especially people who have not been in business for a long time. If I invite people from out of town, the minimum I need to pay for their, of course, their airplane tickets, the hotel, transportation, and food. Depending on who you brought in, that's going to cost you at least 2 G's. You know what I'm saying? Depending where a person comes, you're not going to put them in any type of hotel. You're not going to catch them to, hey, just catch a Uber to come to the studio. Even if you want to go pick them up, you have to think about all that, the food. And they're not coming just for one day, so you have to think about all this kind of stuff. So I don't want you to start your podcast business saying I need a studio podcast, inviting guests from out of town and stuff like that. Then you don't even have equipment in your house. You rent or you get some business credit to get. Don't do that. Because for you to do that, your podcast needs to generate money. So now it becomes like an expense that you're taking from the profit that you're making from your podcast. But you cannot start a podcast with a studio or rent a studio. You have to start a podcast with a webcam because you need some video to put your stuff on reels and stuff like that. And then when you start getting some traction and you have some, you have your audience, you have the website, you can figure out now what is your niche, what you can sell and stuff like that. Eventually, you start making some money. Eventually, you can take a portion of your profit and create a studio podcast. But I don't want you to have to fly guests, because today a good podcast back in the day used to be like one episode a week. But the way people consume content today, a good podcast is twice a week, in my opinion, twice a week. Only the solid podcast established coming with once a week. But you have to drop, 2 episodes a week. 2 episodes a week is good. If you can, your stuff is really good, you have a lot of stuff to talk about, you might drop 3 episodes a week. Because of the way people now consume content post-COVID. So you have to understand that. So you cannot just come in the game and say, I'm going to have 1 episode a week and you have a studio? Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please, don't do that. I don't want you to do that, okay? So, I want you to be able to, from your podcast, you can promote a virtual event. I did so many webinars. That's number one, the way you can monetize. Number two, you need to make sure that you have a community, what we call a membership site, with different things out there. You know, most people already know Patreon, but there's some of the stuff that you can use to now have behind the scene or more content regarding that, regarding your content. Like you can have tutorial, you can have mini masterclass, because like people think a masterclass is 1 month. These masterclass are 30 minutes. It depends on how you share the stuff. So you can have like a paywall where your subscriber can pay 20% off or however you want to price it to get more access to more content and more details. And you can start it right away. Okay? And also some mistakes I see, somebody been on YouTube for 5 years. Oh, coach, I want to start a podcast. They start from scratch. I said, are you talking the same topic you used to talk about? Yeah. Use the YouTube channel that I used to have already. Like, why you want to start something from scratch? Oh, I only have 700 subscribers is still a good number. Go with a 700, go with a 400, go with a 218 subscriber and start your podcast there. Because now there's what we call YouTube podcast, was different from a YouTube videos upload, you know. So understand that. So one way that you can get paid, virtual conference, and you can advertise it on your podcast. Number two, you can as well having what we call a paywall. So a community when they have access to exclusive content, got nothing to do with your podcast, nothing to do with social media. This is, you know, how you solidify who you are, okay, to go to the next level. Very important. I already talked about affiliate marketing earlier, but this is really how you want to be able to make money. And I don't want you to be fixed on, oh, if I don't have a studio, oh, I'm not going to be able to make money. I need a studio. I need 3-angle cameras and stuff. You don't need all of that, okay? So make sure that you do what you're supposed to do. I just want to share that with you. I'm not going to be long. Every Thursday, I'm going super deep. When I say super, I'm going super deep. I'm not going masterclass, like each class like worth 10 G's. I'm going like, this is not kind of Netflix where I just talk about anything. I'm going in details. In details, okay? I'll really let you know, break it down. Website, traffic, how to launch a product, how to go global, how to put your stuff in multiple languages, how to clone yourself with AI. You don't even know. Do you feel like it's me talking? Don't you know it might be AI, Darcy, talking to you? How do you know it's me talking to you now? I will show you how you can duplicate yourself. I've been doing that for a long time, but you know, now for real, like how you can clone your voice, how you can rent your voice to do the work that you couldn't have done before with project, with the AI, your voice working for different people, narrates books. People make $20,000 a book sometimes just to narrate a book. You know about that? Amazon employ people to use the voice. People who got a particular voice like me, with accent and stuff like that. They want somebody like me who can speak English with a French accent, and they pay top dollar for it. Even if you don't have an accent, they can pay you if you have a southern accent. They're looking for people who talk southern. They look for people with a New York, Brooklyn accent. There's so many different things, that ways that you can make money, but because you don't have information, you think it's hard. Everybody is not going to make money online selling something from China that you bought for 30 cents and you try to sell it back in America for $5. That's e-commerce. It's a special skill set. I'm talking about how to utilize the experience that you already have and put it into a global monetization system to be able to reach the globe in 24 different languages from your house. And I'm teaching every Thursday 36 lessons of minimum 90 minutes. 45-minute teaching, 45-minute Q&A. This is some serious stuff. So all you have to do if you want to go to the next level, go to the link below somewhere, go to Reformation Leadership, register, and then we send you the link and you can join us in our private community 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or New York City time every Thursday from 8:30 to 10 p.m. I'm telling you, there's nothing like that in the market. Every Thursday, we're going deep. You have access to the replay. Who does that? Me. See you there. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to today's broadcast. My name is Alan Halliman III. I want to introduce to you an awesome young man that I have a whole lot of respect for. This young man's resume is totally extensive. He is a global media strategist, narrator, author, teacher, translator, publisher, entrepreneur, and an international guru. You're talking about a young man that knows exactly what he's talking about. You need to listen to this guy. His talents served Dikembe Mutombo, Bill Winston, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, Miles Monroe, and 3 heads of state. He has published and marketed more than 700 videos and 200 live webinars and more than 20 books for himself and his clients in French, English, and in Spanish, which are available in more than 140 countries. He has numerous of clients that become #1 bestsellers on Amazon, in French, and in English. Now I bring to you the dominating, the daring, the dependable Mr. Darcy Ogundaga.